Welcome to Beaver Tracks, a damn good podcast where we bring you inside the world of OSU and share a behind-the-scenes look at Beaver Nation. I'm Kolbie Kopp, and I'm an admissions advisor at OSU based on our Corvallis campus. Thank you all for joining us today. Today, joining us on the podcast, we have 3 different tour ambassadors here, 2 current ambassadors, and 1 recent grad. These are current students at OSU who also serve as the face of our university. They give campus tours on our campus, represent OSU at various different recruitment events, as well as visit events, and they're all very passionate about all things Beaver Nation. As students, they know firsthand what it is like to be part of our student body here on campus, so we are very fortunate to have them on the podcast here today to share all of their experiences and knowledge and insights on a wide array of topics from student life, all things to academics. And they'll also be answering some questions that we had some of our followers on Instagram provide us with. So you'll want to definitely make sure that you stay tuned all the way till the end to get the inside scoop on all things OSU. So thank you all for being here today. To get started, why don't you all just briefly introduce yourself, some ideas you can share, your name, of course, where you're from, maybe the major that you studied or are currently studying, some things about what brought you to OSU. So just go one by one and briefly introduce yourself.
I can go first. I am Kennedy. I am going to be starting my senior year in September, so I'm excited about that. I'm originally from Minden, Nevada, which is up north. It's 8 hours from Vegas, so it's not anywhere near there. I chose OSU because I loved how green and beautiful it was. It's pretty much the opposite of my hometown, so it's nice to have some lovely foliage all year round.
For sure.
I'll go next. So I'm Chanah. I am the recent grad. I am the oldie. So when I was at the university, I was studying biology with a pre-med option. So I was going on a medical track, and I still am, hopefully, in a couple years, med school. I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii. So I am out of state and very far away from home. And the main reason why I decided to come to OSU is because I'm a first generation college student. So for me, I needed to go to a place that had a lot of academic support. And I did see that OSU has a really great pre-med advising. So when I came and visited, I saw a lot of support here and a lot of people that can help guide me just because there's no one else that could help me in that kind of sense.
Hello, my name is Arrow. I am I'm going into my second year. I'm a transfer student. Currently, I am majoring in natural resources with an emphasis on ecological restoration. And then I'm also thinking about double minoring, but currently I'm only minoring in botany. What really brought me to Oregon State, I moved up here just a little bit past COVID, up into Oregon, all the way at the tippy top of where Astoria is. And I kind of chilled there for about 2 years and then realized I didn't want to continue to do like pizza delivery service, though I had a fun time doing it. I decided that I needed to like move forward and do something else. So my best friend and I tag teamed and we came all the way down here to OSU, particularly because I find that a beaver is a little bit more scarier than a duck. Truly, that is like the selling point. But the campus is also really beautiful, and all of the research and everything that happens here is great as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for those introductions. That kind of leads me into the next thing. And actually, one of the questions that one of our followers had put into the Instagram chat is, I guess, a twofold question. How would you describe first what it is like to be a student at OSU? What is the campus like? And kind of like what is the community like on campus? And then we'll add the second part after you kind of give that description.
I would say for me, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, you want to rock, paper, scissors?
I would say the community part was really I would say is the reason why I didn't go home. My culture in Hawaii is just very different, and just in general, it was a very big culture shock. And so I was genuinely surprised honestly about how much community is here. All around, all over the world. There's so many international students here. And so I really didn't feel out of place. I never felt that I was someone that was like an outsider in a way. I really felt welcomed. And I just was, I don't know, I was just like very surprised. I really made it a home here at OSU through the 4 years. And I could genuinely say I made the most out of college because of OSU and the events that they have and the opportunities they have research wise or like non-academically wise. How many like Plaza Palooza, the film party, favorites. I loved it. I really love those kind of events and going to cultural events in our 7 cultural resource centers. They also were amazing food too, and it's all for free. So that was the best part.
I guess for me, the biggest part of kind of what Chanah talked about, like coming here and not feeling like an outsider, I think that the biggest part of that for me was living in the residence halls my first year. Because kind of the nice thing is that no matter where you're from, you are required to live in the residence halls in your first year. So it was nice because it kind of put everybody on an equal playing field in a way where like, there were a lot of people, like my roommate from freshman year, there were a lot of people who came in with friends from high school or just friends that they knew from other stuff because they were from Oregon, but I still had a chance to connect with them because I was seeing them every single day, like in the hallway, or we were brushing our teeth together and stuff. So I feel like that gave me a really good shot at getting to know people that I probably wouldn't have had a chance to otherwise. Or that I would have kind of like been at a disadvantage getting to know, if that makes sense, because they would have already had that support system. So I feel like that definitely worked in my favor. And that was a really great way that I felt I found community and I didn't even really have to try, which was awesome.
So there, not to go back on what Kennedy said, but there are some stipulations about our first year live-on policy. Especially for those transfer students. It is recommended for transfer students to stay on campus for their first year. However, they don't necessarily have to. I chose the latter and I didn't actually stay on campus, which I will say might have put me slightly at a disadvantage there because I didn't have that easy access to a community right off the bat, like Kennedy had mentioned. So it definitely was a little bit of a struggle to actually get out and feel maybe a little bit more inclusive, included than I was already. But having those cultural resource centers there, I know that all 3 of us have talked about them, but having those cultural resource centers there were definitely a huge help as they are just a good gateway into meeting new friends. They hold a bunch of different events, so then you can meet friends there at those events. A lot of the community from Corvallis will actually come out to those events and help support us. And so also meeting those people as well. It just definitely is like, it is very rare to find someone here at OSU who is like who doesn't feel welcomed or who doesn't feel like I'm already a part of this huge 26,000 family or person family. So it's really, yeah, I would say that's what, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love all the various differences and responses, but also a lot of the similarities between all of your responses, especially like from my perspective, talking to prospective students, and they want to know like what it's like to be a student here. And it's like, well, I can tell you all these things, but I also didn't go to OSU, so I don't know. Like coming from me, it's like it only means so much coming from someone that didn't actually attend the university. And so I even love hearing like all of your perspectives and just to kind of like solidify that like, yes, this is a place, if you want it to be, that you can find your space here, and there's opportunities for that and for everyone. And also the experience of like not having lived on campus, that's a lot of questions that we get of like, do I have to live in the resident hall? And it's like, for most of you, yes, your first year you do. And I think a lot of people realize after they do live in the resident hall that it's actually like might not be as bad as they thought. And there's actually a lot of benefits that come from that. So really love all of those different perspectives. Kind of to follow up with that, someone had asked on the Instagram, what is your biggest misconception that you've had about college? And since all of you've had some experience under your belt and having now, for some of you, graduated, what is maybe a misconception that you had?
Okay, I feel like I kind of have an advantage here because I did get to see the questions when I sent you the list. And I loved this question when it came in. So I was really thinking about it, and I talked to my roommates about it and stuff. So we really chatted about it a lot. But I feel like for me, the biggest thing, or one of the biggest misconceptions I had, is that in my first year and even my second year, every single class I took was going to be this huge lecture. Because I feel like that's kind of what you see in the movies. And also that's just what a lot of people tell you when you go to a bigger school is like, oh my gosh, get ready to be in these like 500 person lectures and stuff. And I definitely had classes like that. But I did feel like in those classes, especially with the lab or the recitation, like there was a good way to kind of connect with the TA or the professor or just like other people in the class. But then also I was taking classes that were kind of general ed that ended up being a lot smaller. So I think that was definitely something I was pleasantly surprised by when I came in, was the fact that I wasn't going to be just like a face in the crowd or like another number in a, big lecture and stuff like that. I actually did have a chance to connect with professors and connect with other people. And even in those big lectures, like there's a lot of opportunity to connect with other students and stuff like that also. So it's not as impersonal as I kind of thought it would be coming in.
I would say for me, this might be a little deep, but for me was that stumbling is okay in college. I came from a small school that was kind of a college prep school. And so I thought it was just going to be like that, in the sense of like, I can easily do this homework. I can easily do that. Or like, I don't know. It was just like high school wasn't easy, but it was still like smoother. And so when I went to college, I got a huge wake-up call, and I had a lot of humbling moments. General chemistry, I can name that class out because that class was humbling my first year here. So I literally had a lot of imposter syndrome coming into college. And so I stumbled a lot. I wasn't no perfect straight A student. So that was a little bit of like a rough patch for me, but thankfully, my advisors, but also my friends and my professors that I would talk to that gone through this process as well, to the point where they have their PhD, they all were like, they were never ever perfect. And you made it to the point. I still had imposter syndrome, I would say, till like sophomore year. They were like, you made it into your second year of college. And like, not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people can say they even got into college or they went to college. And so I like had like this huge like block, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I fix everything I'm studying. I need to do this and that. And so thankfully my professors all were just like very helpful, and they gave me a lot of suggestions on different study materials possibly, or different techniques that possibly are now something that I need to try out, because I would say I didn't find a technique in high school and I really needed to learn how to find a study technique in college. And so that was a big stepping stone for me, and that's why my junior year I like felt so much at ease, I would say. I felt so much better and I had more confidence in myself. And hey, I have a bachelor's degree on my wall. Like I have an actual degree now. And so like I knew I just accomplished something big. And so that was something I did not expect. And it was a really, really huge step for me. And so that's something that I'm glad I'm not the only one that went through it too. And so there's a lot of things that you learn in college, and you grow up a lot and you mature a lot with that.
I feel like, sorry, just to add on to that super quickly. I feel like another thing is like you're learning how to be like a fully grown human in the world also. So it's like a big part of that transition is, yeah, you struggle with school and you struggle with imposter syndrome and kind of adjusting to what college looks like as opposed to high school. But you also have to like, you know, you might be eating 3 meals a day by yourself for the first time ever, you know, with your parents not cooking for you. And, you know, you have to figure out how to make your own way to the airport sometime, you know, like it's just stuff that you never really think about that is harder and more of a hurdle to jump over than you expected. So I feel like also giving yourself grace in the human and the life aspect of it, because you have like, there's so much to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with a lot of that, I'm going to kind of just be piggybacking off of it. One of my biggest things coming into college was that I had to do everything by myself. Don't know why I had that in my head. Had it in my head though. I was so determined to do every single thing by myself. And very quickly did I realize that is not how things are going to like kind of go out. Especially because within like the first month or so, I immediately just started feeling that like imposter syndrome of like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Type thing. You know, seeing in the movies and all these things, like no one ever really talks to their professors. They just kind of like get up and go, grab their notebooks and like hug them and walk out the room. And here it is very much like not that. It can be that if that's what you want to make it, but it can also not be that. And majority of the time it isn't that. You can make those connections with your professors. You can reach out and talk to your advisors and talk to the deans of the college that you're studying under and things like this. And thankfully now going into my second year and after my fall term of my freshman year, I was able to quickly transition and be like, hey, okay, actually I can reach out to people and ask for help and, you know, get advice or get a point in the right direction for what I need to do. So that was definitely a hurdle that I had to hop over very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those are all very valuable stories, especially from what I know talking with prospective students, but not only the students, like their families. You can see sometimes the panic that they have of like, I'm sending my first child to college or whatever that might be. And just the concern that they have of like, how are they going to survive this transition or make it through? So to hear all of those stories of like triumphs that you face, but that there's resources to help you get over those, I think that's very powerful for a prospective student listening potentially to this, to know that like, it's okay. It's going to be hard for everyone at some point probably, but like, it'll get better. Ask for help. And there's people here to support you and to help you with those hard times. So yeah, to kind of transition, we already talked a little bit, some about like student life things, to kind of follow up with that. I know some had mentioned like cultural centers, different like events that happen throughout the year, but maybe to extend on that, just in general, covering some of just the basic opportunities that exist on campus to get involved. Obviously, we have a lot of different clubs and organizations and sports and intramurals and the cultural centers. So maybe sharing some examples of clubs and organizations maybe you've been part of or that you know of, how you got involved in those experiences. I know we have like our welcome week and stuff, but provides a lot of opportunities for that. So maybe just sharing a little bit more about like those experiences and how to go about finding those opportunities.
I'll start because I can talk about my club. I love my club. So one big event that if you've gone on a tour possibly with other ambassadors we talk about is Huike. So for me, I was my senior year the president of the Hawaii club, and I really started getting involved in that club, I would say my sophomore year, just because I came also in the middle of the pandemic. I lived on campus in 2020, but we were all on Zoom. So sophomore year was really when we had in person officially. And so I just went to the Beaver Community Fair actually, and I felt like it was a little fair. It was really fun because I got so much food and so much snacks and cute gifts. And so I stopped by every single booth. I walked both ways of MU, and I went to every single one. And then I saw there was a Hawaii club, and I was like, wow, like cool. And I met all these great people from Hawaii, but also I met people that weren't from Hawaii and grew up in California, and some even grew up in over more on the East Coast side. And so I was like, wow, like there's so many people here that are not from the island, but just want to learn, and also just wanted to, like, they just became friends with all these people. And so that's when I learned about Huike, and Huike is one of the biggest student-run events here on campus. A lot of ambassadors actually dance in it, and we don't have any restriction or anything like that about how many people can dance in it, or if you're not from Hawaii. And so that was pretty cool, because a lot of other people that were from different communities all over joined, and so they had a great time doing that as well. So yeah, kind of had fun with that. And yeah, we had some good food, traditional Hawaiian food. I know Kennedy possibly went to this event. Arrow, you went to this event too. Yeah, it was just fun. That was just like a big event for me, and a highlight that I know a lot of other people too like to see. So that was my thing. I love my club, and I love that event. So yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we have to mention that Chanah like literally organized the whole thing and stuff. She's just talking about it as like a event, but like she literally ran it. So and she did a great job. I really enjoyed it. So I just felt like we had to bring that up and give her
flowers. I could go. Quickly on the Huike event, it was one of my first actual events to go on campus. I was kind of being a little bit more reclusive my first year. Didn't really want to step out too far because I was afraid that I was going to like not get overwhelmed, but I was going to get too passionate about these things that I'm finding, all these clubs. There's 400 plus clubs here on campus, and I was afraid that I was going to get too involved in a club and then forget that I'm here for my academics. So I did kind of just chill back and take a step back and let things kind of go by. This upcoming year, though, I will actually be stepping out into that kind of stuff. But Huike in particular, I had to go to because I knew that everyone talked it up so much. And it was one of my first, and I didn't know everyone all too well. I'm still kind of new to the like tour ambassador family. But I was a crybaby. I cried so hard when everyone was doing their things, giving their speeches. Keoi, like it was so amazing to just see that like bright and colorful community, and it's like that. It just was really exciting. But back to clubs. I coming here, I initially started off in as a botany major, so I was under the College of Agricultural Science. And so they kind of had a bunch of different booths all set up. I joined the botany club, the horticultural club, the plant, all these plant clubs. I'm obsessed with plants and love them so much. I don't have enough behind me, but I need some more. And so, getting started into that, it was definitely really exciting to even just view from afar and watch what was going on, the events that people were holding, getting all the emails of like, hey, we're going to go out and do this at the McDonald Forest, which is a research forest that we have here that a lot of students take advantage of. And just like all of these things, I was very much like Chanah, where I was I thought of it as like trick-or-treating during the like club event, where I just like went to booth and got like tote bags and free stickers and pens and candy, and it just is so exciting. But of course, I also listened to every single spew that they had going on, so that was great. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say for that one.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up being a crybaby at Huike, because every single dance I started to cry, and the people I'm sitting with were like, actually, what is wrong with you? So very normal. But I feel like for me, shout out the Business Analytics Club. Wanted to shout them out. Yeah, I actually don't know if I said this in my intro, but I'm an accounting major, so I'm in the College of Business. So the College of Business has a lot of really good clubs to get involved with. There is basically a club for every major in the College of Business, and I think that kind of extends to like the rest of the university as well. So if you want to get more immersed in your major and meet, and get to know people a lot better within your major, that's a really good option. Or if you want to go completely outside your major and do something that you're just interested in, like recreationally, that works too. And then also I wanted to bring up fraternity and sorority life, because I'm a part of that as well. And I think that the thing that I always try to like push about fraternity and sorority life on my tours and when I talk to families and stuff is that like I feel like all of us come in with this preconceived notion of what it is, but we have 5 different councils here on campus, and each council, kind of like has a bunch of different fraternities and sororities with different purposes. So some of them are like the traditional, like quote unquote, socially based fraternities and sororities that I feel like a lot more people know about, but there's also culturally based ones and there's also academically based ones. And kind of the nice thing about having so many different fraternities and sororities on campus is that there are a bunch of different varying levels of time and monetary commitment. Because I know that that's a big concern for a lot of people also is not just the monetary stuff, but, you want to have time to do other things and time to focus on homework and all that kind of stuff. So I think that if you are looking for community when you come to campus, it's a good idea to at least check it out. It certainly is not for everybody. And there are a ton of other ways to get involved as well. But I feel like it's at least worth looking into to see if you can find something that you're interested in. Because I feel like it is such a great way to meet people. And I have met so many amazing people. And I also have had a lot of really good leadership opportunities through my sorority as well. So just kind of wanted to like talk about that a little bit because I think that it's something that not a lot of people take advantage of because they don't know the full scope of their options, if that makes sense.
For sure.
I will say, oh, sorry.
No, you're
No,
good. Go ahead.
I will say there is a lot that goes on campus. There's always something going on from in the morning to night. Shout out to Kennedy. She joined our intramural softball team for our work. So she did amazing. Yeah. I watched a couple games, really rocked it. So yeah, there's always something going on. I had a roommate that just went to go. She loved volleyball, so she would just she signed up for an intramural and she just said, I'm just going to go play volleyball. And she just got put on a team, and now she still is friends with those people that she met doing that. She really is just embraced all of that. And so there's always something. You just have to be open about that and open trying new things. And there will be people to help support you through all of that.